When we think of NBA players, we think of the plays they make on the court. We never think of what they do once they leave the arenas. For some players in the league, when they leave such arenas, they find themselves in trouble with the law. Now, which NBA players got in trouble with the law? Keep watching to find out. J.R. Smith. While the Miami Heat and the Dallas Mavericks were getting ready for their NBA Finals matchup, then New York Knicks guard Smith was getting ready to do something completely different in South Beach. While in Miami, Smith was jumping around in his scooter while not having a driver's license. Of course, he was pulled over and given a ticket for these actions. Now, this isn't exactly the biggest crime in the world, but it cannot keep Smith off the list. But let's be honest, if we told you this story and you had to guess who it was, you knew it could be none other than the infamous Smith, Kendrick Perkins. During the time of the NBA lockout, NBA players had to figure out what to do with the time that they usually spent playing basketball. Perkins was a player who found himself in trouble with the law during such time. Perkins was picked up in a nightclub in Texas where he was drunk and was trying to fight the club's manager. From there, he was forced out of the club while he shouted at people on the way out. Oh, and he also tried fighting more people as well. No one has ever accused Perkins of not speaking his mind, that's for sure. Kyle Lowry. Here's another NBA player that got in trouble with the law during the latest NBA lockout. When it comes to Lowry, he got himself in trouble for his actions during a charity event in Las Vegas. During the game, Lowry was so livid about the calls a female official was making that he ended up verbally abusing her and even threw the basketball at her. For his actions, Lowry had to undergo an impulse control management course plus 100 hours of community service. All of that over a simple charity game? I guess it's good Lowry never takes the game off, huh? Sebastian Telfair. This one goes back to over a decade ago. Before there was Delonte West, there was Telfair. While West had a very good reason for his action, Telfair had very little. Telfair found himself in trouble with the law back in 2007. While he was struggling to get any playing time with the Boston Celtics, Telfair was picked up in New York for going 77 miles per hour in a 45 mile per hour speed zone. To make matters worse, he had a .45 caliber handgun in the passenger seat. So for his troubles, he also picked up a possession charge too. This was not the first time Telfair got in trouble when it came to guns. Back when he was important, he was charged for having a gun in his pillowcase on the team plane. The dude likes guns. Ben Wallace. Another player who ended up getting in trouble with the law during the lockout season, Wallace was pulled over for suspicion of drunk driving and the officer found a concealed weapon. For the charges, Wallace was told to pay fines, undergo 30 hours of community service, and was placed on probation for the remainder of the NBA year. Halfway through this list, and we think this is very important for both the league and players to avoid any kind of lockout moving forward. Jason Kidd. This arrest happened all the way back in the year 2001. It was a pretty serious conviction back then. Kidd was charged with and pleaded no contest to spouse abuse charges, which he had to pay a $200 fine and was made to undergo anger management classes. 6 years later, he will file a restraining order against his wife, claiming she was abusing him the whole time. Still, if Kidd had these charges against him today, it is difficult to see that this career would have continued. Delonte West. Back in 2009, West was picked up in Maryland while speeding on his motorcycle when the officers found a Beretta 9mm handgun, a Ruger 357 Magnum handgun, and a Remington shotgun in a guitar case. West pleaded guilty to 2 counts of gun charges and had to serve 8 months house arrest, 40 hours of community service, and 2 months of probation. Deshaun Stevenson. Stevenson is someone who has been arrested a few times in his career. As a young player for the Jazz, he was accused and convicted for the statutory rape of a 14-year-old girl when he was 20. He served community service for a case that was changed from a felony to a misdemeanor. His latest arrest was when he got picked up for public intoxication. This was a few days after the Mavericks won the NBA championship. Caron Butler. Butler really had no arrest while he was in the NBA. He is on this list because in an interview with Oprah back in 2005, Butler talked about his past and how he was arrested 15 times before he even turned the age of 15. Luckily for him, he made it through those troubles and made a career for himself. Ron Metalworld Artest. Artest was famously tried and convicted for his part in the Pacers-Pistons brawl back in 2004, for which he had to do community service and a year of probation. The next run-in with the law came in 2007 while with the Kings. He would plead no contest to a spouse abuse charge. For that conviction, Artest had to undergo 100 hours of community service, a 10-day work program with the sheriff's office, plus a $600 fine and counseling. Well, this is our list. What do you think? Did we miss anybody with a criminal background? Let us know and comment below, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe.